Hi folks, and welcome to episode 2 of Do It To It Sax, where I take on the pros' tips and tricks so you can see what works. Today's review, breathing techniques. Alright, so in my first episode, I showed you a bunch of techniques that were designed to help improve your tone. Those were all called long tone exercises. And what I want to do first is I want to talk a little bit about how those went, and also how it went using the equipment that we talked about that's so essential, mirrors and metronomes. First of all, I did spend the week using both those pieces of equipment pretty consistently. The mirror took a little getting used to. It's very hard to look at oneself, and critique oneself, but I found that it did help. I paid more attention to make sure that I was looking more relaxed and that my hands were on the saxophone and my fingers weren't flying off all the time, so that was helpful. The metronome, still not loving it a whole lot, but I noticed that I am able to keep the beat a lot more since I've been using it consistently all week, and I've also been using it on a few of the songs that I'm trying to learn, and it definitely helps. It points out my flaws, but I kind of need that. So I would say, definitely going to keep using the metronome, going to keep using the mirror. And obviously I can encourage you guys to do that too. So as for the long tone exercises that I showed you last time, there were 3 of them, if you remember. One of them was, I called it volume control, and that's just where you kind of start soft and then get louder. Okay, that was pretty feeble. Let me try that again. Okay, so that was the volume control. Those I think went pretty well. They were sort of boring, and I definitely noticed I had much more trouble on my low C, keeping my breath support. I've noticed that across all these exercises. So that was okay. The volume control was decent. As for the next ones, I also did, I think I called them slide ups, where you just started low and counted out 4 measures going up to the next highest note on the 4th beat, kind of like this. Those weren't too hard to do. They seemed okay, but I didn't feel like they were giving me enough exercise. I was helping me a little bit learn to support from my diaphragm, but I felt like it wasn't quite enough. And the last ones I did were what I call the octave jumps, and that's where I just jump between octaves. Again, those were pretty good. I had trouble going very high because I don't have my altissimo notes. The highest I can go is the high F, which is I use the front F. So I thought about it, and I thought, as I'm doing these, I did notice during the week that I seemed to have a little bit more duration when I was playing, a little more breath support. I was starting to see some improvement when I would play songs on my lower register. So I definitely want to keep using long tones. But I thought the exercise they took too long to do all 3, and like I said, some of them were a little boring, some I thought could be more challenging. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all 3 into one long tone technique, kind of the eclectic long tone technique. So that means I'm going to be doing the volume getting softer to louder. I'm also going to be sliding up from one note to another. And for the octave jumps, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to eventually reach an octave, but I'm going to be sliding up one more note of the scale. Actually, I'm going to go down. I'll start at the middle C and go down. So I'll slide down one note of the scale every time. So it'll be kind of like this. Don't worry, I won't do the whole thing because it's a little lengthy. and so on. So I think that that's going to give me a little bit more challenge when I'm doing it. Obviously, I struggled with a little bit here. It's new to me. I haven't put them all together before. And I might start up on my higher C and then work all my way down, so I go down through 2 octaves, just to make sure I'm getting a really good workout. Definitely, I notice when I do this, I definitely feel it in my mouth and my embouchure, so I know I'm getting a good exercise workout for these. So I'm going to keep those, and I'll check back in with you guys in about 3-4 weeks and let you know how I thought that this new eclectic long tone technique is working for me. But give it a try if you think it's something you might want to add to your warm-up routine. So today I'm going to be introducing a new category of techniques. And again, I noticed as I was doing these long tones that my breath support was really failing me, especially on the lower notes. I mean, this is a big instrument to fill up with air, and I think I need a little bit more practice getting that solid air supply going. So in general, the goal of doing breathing techniques, as far as I understand it, is to get more power out of your horn, especially in the lower register. And what all the pros were saying kind of across the board is you definitely want to stay relaxed. So I'm going to definitely want to do this in front of my mirror to kind of keep my shoulders down, keep my body relaxed, not come, go up with my shoulders or like this. And the other thing they really stress is the breathing should happen down low from the diaphragm. In other words, as you breathe in, instead of breathing in from the shoulders and chest, you want to breathe in from the stomach, like that. That is not something I'm in the habit of, so it's going to take a little practice. But fortunately, I have a couple ideas how to do that. So for each of these techniques, what I'm going to be doing is putting on the metronome at some point and counting to see basically how long I can hold my breath. Just so you know, for all these exercises, I'm going to have the metronome set at 120 beats per minute, and then I'll be counting along with it 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, just to count how many measures I can get on a breath. Obviously, I'll be doing that in my head, not out loud, because hopefully I'll be blowing a note. Okay, so the first technique I want to try here is something I'm going to call the long exhale. This is where you're going to take a deep breath, again, focusing on getting the air in through the diaphragm, the abdomen, really sucking it down there, and then blow it out. And when you've blown it all out, keep blowing it out. Blow it out until you feel like you're about to die. Then breathe in again and play a note, which would be the G. So I'm going to start my metronome here. Got to put it up to 120 beats. Otherwise, this won't work very well. Almost. There we go. All right, that's pretty quick, but don't worry, I'm just counting. I'm not actually playing that fast. All right, so here we go. The long exhale. First, breathe in. I got about 8 measures. 8, 1, 2, 3 was my top. Okay, so that obviously not difficult. Kind of feels weird to push your air out that hard. But I'm going to now try the opposite, which is the long inhale. So in this exercise, the focus is on, again, from the diaphragm down low, breathing in as much as humanly possible. And this time, suck in 3 more breaths on top of what you already think you've been able to take in. So in other words, you're going to be filled to bursting. And once you have that, I'm going to take this handy dandy piece of paper. This is actually some music I'm working on. It's in a sentimental mood. It's not ready yet, but I'll post it when it is. So once you've got that deep lungful of air, you're supposed to take your hand and hold it up in the air like this and blow and keep it stuck on your hand as long as possible. So I have no idea how this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. All right, deep breath in with 3 more breaths afterwards. Oh, that didn't work well at all. Let me try that one again. Maybe I have to hold the paper a little closer to my face. I swear the guy did this on YouTube. Well, I'm not sure about this one. Well, let me see. Let me try it anyway, doing the same thing on a note and count it and see how far I can get. So again, this is the long inhale. I think I let out too much air too quickly on that one. I feel like I just blatted it out and didn't control it at all. But I got about 7 on that one. All right, so those are 2 techniques already. One is the big exhale, empty yourself out and then suck the air in, and then the big inhale where you breathe it all in, plus 3 more just to really expand. I think it's mostly to feel how it feels when you're totally full of air. I don't know. Those 2 might actually eventually go together real well, but I'll practice them separately because that's how they were presented on YouTube. The third technique I want to try, it's a little different. This is kind of an imagination approach. According to some folks, really your best sound, your best tone starts in your head. So to be able to imagine certain things will help the sound come out. So for the third technique I want to show you today, it's really kind of a blend of ideas across a lot of different pros. I'm going to call it the imagination technique. That's because a lot of the good tone on a horn, it's not really coming from the horn itself or your fingers or anything else. It starts in your head, in your mind, in your imagination, a way to hear yourself playing it. And to do this technique, I've pulled together a couple different ideas. The first one is during that deep breath, when you're breathing in from the diaphragm, to actually imagine you're breathing in deep into your thighs, to really go down deep and fill yourself up all the way, starting down low. Then as you release the air, you want to have your throat nice and open to let all that warm air come out. And so you want to almost think about, that you're yawning or maybe singing opera, something that really opens the throat. If it's constricted and you tense up, you're not going to get the air out. You're not going to get the volume you want. So imagining that you're yawning or singing opera to open it up. And then as that air comes up, to also imagine that you're blowing out hot air, not cool air. Apparently the saxophone is a hot air instrument, not cool. So it's the difference between blowing like you're cooling your soup or blowing like you're steaming up a window. So again, kind of breathing from the thigh, getting that throat open in a yawn or opera song, breathing out some nice hot air. And then the last one is really imagining that deep tone coming right out of the bell of your instrument, to really kind of, in your mind's eye, envision it coming out big and full and powerful. So again, there's nothing, to do in terms of, tricks. It's just thinking it through, having your mental focus on these things. I will say one thing, though, that is also recommended for all of these techniques is as you're blowing, don't take your teeth off the mouthpiece when you breathe in. So you don't want to have your mouth on here and go, they say keep your teeth touching. It's okay to lift your lip and definitely open up on the sides. And the idea there is you don't want to lose your embouchure. You've got it set where you want it. You don't want to open your mouth and then have to figure it out again. So that's kind of in general. But for the imagination technique, we're going to think about filling up our air from the thighs all the way up. Nice big open throat, yawning, opera singing, nice hot air coming out, and really hearing it in my mind's eye, the tone coming out of the horn. So I'm going to give that a try. And again, I'm doing all these on the low G. Let's give it a try. I'll have to really think about this here. Wow, I actually think that kind of worked. Didn't feel natural, but I think I really got some sound out of this horn. I'm definitely going to want to practice that one. That sounded pretty impressive to me. Okay, so those are the 3 techniques I'm going to be working on for this next week. The long exhale, the long inhale, and the imagination technique. Remembering, of course, to keep myself relaxed. Remember to keep my teeth on the mouthpiece as I'm breathing in. Keeping my metronome going so I can count and see how long I can hold these notes. And I'll let you know how everything goes next time we get together. All right, take it easy and see you then, folks.